On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, the shallow water mark is off Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. I'm with Captain Judd Owens, and we'll be jigging for flounder along the local offshore wrecks and bottom rubble. Don't miss this episode.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing. Big fish don't stand a chance.
When you consider the amount of species, both inshore, nearshore, and offshore, that are available to North Carolina anglers, the one fish that remains big time in terms of popularity is the flounder. In fact, Saltwater Sportsman magazine occasionally does reader surveys where they want to know what's the most popular offshore fish and the inshore fish among our readers. And so many times when it comes to inshore fishing, flounder is at the top of the list.
Yeah, flounder fishing around here, people are intense about it in a good way. And I think one of the biggest draws is a lot of people talk about from, pretty much like the Wrightsville Beach area, maybe South Topsail, all the way down through Cape Fear, down to, the Cape River mouth in that area of Brunswick County. Some of the biggest flounder in the country are caught in this area. And we catch some big fish, especially those big southerns inshore. And a lot of people think flounder are easy to catch, but they're not always easy to catch. I do this for a living, and it's amazing how it changes daily sometimes. But people like to eat them. They like that challenge. And even if someone comes home with one nice flounder, they're usually pretty happy.
Had the shallow water mark docked at the marina that Jot runs out of, and we cleared the inlet and started running out to one of the spots that Jot had, which is roughly around 5 miles out.
So it depends on the weather conditions more than anything, your wind and your tide, how much flow you have. I don't want the boat to move too fast. If I'm drifting, I do really like to drift, but the wind and tide conditions have to be light. If that boat starts to move pretty fast, you're going to go from a jigging scenario to a dragging. And if you're dragging, you're going to get hung up and lose a lot of tackle. It's hard to catch those fish when your line gets at a heavy angle, not straight up and down.
So Jot has these numbers to these spots. Some of them are a pretty decent drift. Other ones are very small pieces where it's more precision to get on them and stay there to have your shots at getting these fish. He gets up current of his numbers. We marked the bottom. It looked beautiful. He would go to neutral. He and I would start jigging and come across that structure and work it. And once we came beyond it, we would fire back up and make another drift.
That's a good one too.
If you need a net, let me know.
Yeah, let's get a net ready
All right,
on this one. Yeah, that's a good fish. Feels like a good fish.
All right.
Yeah, it's got the right glide to it.
I'm going to come around to Jot.
Nice fish, real nice fish.
Oh, that is too.
Woo!
He is
Beautiful,
ours.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fish, man. Beautiful.
You'd ever think a fish this ugly would taste so incredibly well, right?
Oh, unbelievable, unbelievable. Yep.
Oh, that is so cool. So you tell me there's a couple different species of flounder. Tell me.
Yeah, so when you have the non-oscillated eyes are just dots like this.
Yes.
But oscillated eyes are like this, have the closed.
Okay.
So this flounder has some closed eyes. So this is going to be a summer or a gulf flounder.
Very cool. All right, well, it's going to be a released one here, Jot.
Yeah,
you want to do the
beautiful
honors?
fish, absolutely. There we go. All right.
Whoa, and he is off, Jot.
Just right. We'll take that. Hey, let's get some more of those guys.
He had the first flounder up to the boat. It would have been a gorgeous keeper. Would have looked super in the live well. It would have looked even better on the dinner plate later that night. But of course it was closed season, so we were catch and release fishing. Admire this fish. Sent it on its way, and we continued to pace.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin. Mako. You'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine. Go boldly. George, we'll be right back.
I'm off Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. John Owens and I are jigging for flounder along the local offshore wrecks and bottom rubble.
So I fish out of Seapath Marina at Wrightsville Beach, and it's a great marina. It's off the beaten path, full fuel service, ice, snacks, drinks, beer, all the good stuff you need for a great day on the water fishing. And it's right off Mott's Channel. I fished out of this marina my entire life, so it's home.
Yeah, Jot has this area down, and I've got to give him credit too when he says you need to stay over at this Hampton Inn Suites.
So the Hampton Inn Suites at Landfall, it's a great little hidden gem hotel. It's a Hampton, and it is less than a mile from the Wrightsville Beach drawbridge. It is less than 3/4 of a mile from the marina I fish out of, Seapath.
Very comfortable, very clean place. Swimming pool if you decided to take the day off or what have you. Definitely got to give kudos to the hotel, the Hampton Inn and Suites. We're coming back here. We're certainly going to use that again. Just strategically perfect and a very nice, comfortable resort.
What I have found the best way to work the lures for flounders is going to be a light jig, just kind of a hopping across the bottom. Straight up and down is fine if the boat's moving a little bit, but you want to be able to cover areas. So if I'm drifting, I will just do a light up and down jig. But if we're anchored up, I'm going to cast it out 30 or 40 feet, rod tip high, keeping that rod tip high, and hopping it across the bottom. I'll hop it, let it sink back down close to the bottom, reeling a little slack, and hop it. I do not like to hop and reel, because a lot of times anglers will bring that lure off the bottom. If that lure's off the bottom, you're not going to catch those fish.
So it got to the point where we decided let's go ahead and anchor, because the drift was starting to go pretty quickly, even when we were stemming the current. But at anchor, he had one side, I had one side, and not only were we able to drop straight down and jig, but also fan cast out around the boat, let that jig hit bottom, and once it hit bottom, just continue with that little jigging routine where you're sort of hopping over that bottom and staying in touch with that hard bottom and trying to get a flounder. And it was working, and bam, Jock goes in there, and I think he pulls out 1 or 2 fish in fast order.
Woo! Fish is pulling pretty good. Got that net, George?
Oh, I'm coming
Here
around.
Here it comes. Oh, yeah. Another nice one. Woo! Very nice.
Yeah, it is.
Very nice. A little upgrade there.
Jock, you have a way of making flounder fishing really exciting with the announcement.
That's
and all
it,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when they come quick, that's for sure. That beautiful fish.
That's absolutely gorgeous. It's an odd-looking fish.
Beautiful.
And they had some teeth on them, too.
Man, I tell you, that's a thick one, too, man. Big old mouth, big old teeth. Predator.
All right, Jock, I'm going to turn this to you.
Cool, all right.
It's a lucky flounder, right?
I swear it is.
And look how fast that they just tear off. And I mean, those things, they take off.
They take off so fast. I mean, they sit there for a second, and they think you're not looking, and they're gone.
Well, I love it, Jock.
That's a good fish. Nice.
Look at the span of that mouth. You see how wide that mouth is?
It's amazing. People don't realize how big their mouths are. They think they're small, but they're not. They can eat a heck of a big size bait.
Chomp down that storm shad pretty darn good. Man, that mouth is big. I'll tell you what, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, the flounder fishing is pretty impressive. He
hung around for a little while.
He did. He was good. Like in bottom fishing, and I guess these spots are so small that after you got 2 or 3 fish off of them, or missed 2 or 3 fish, it chilled out. So you had to pull anchor and go to a fresh piece of bottom, anchor up, and do the whole routine. So it was like a stick and move kind of fishing, pretty much hitting the spots, dropping the anchor, pulling the anchor. It's a pretty, I'd say pretty laborious type of fishing there if you're the one pulling up the anchor, which I was in most cases.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Simrad. Go with Simrad and go with confidence. Rapala holds the world record for world records. Suffix, always use the best line. Starbright Boat Care Products, blending technology with performance since 1973. George, we'll be right back.
Jigging for flounder is the name of the game. Jot Owens and I are fishing along the offshore wrecks and bottom rubble off Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina.
I was fighting this flounder up and trying to keep it just maybe a few inches beneath the surface so it doesn't sit there and freak out, and enough time for Jot to get the net under it.
Coming up. Feels heavy.
Good.
Feels very nice here. Yeah, oh, here you go. Nice. Check that out.
Oh, yeah.
God, that a beauty.
Very nice. Ooh, very nice one, George.
You take him, but I don't know. Well,
Yeah, he's barely hooked.
Oh, get him. Oh, you saved the day.
I've
Did
done
you
that once or twice.
Man, you were right there. Mr. Reflexes himself.
That's when I saw that. I was like, you know, I just said to myself, he's barely hooked.
Check that out. Now, you were telling me, too, one of the tricks, you like to cut the tail off of that.
Yeah, if
Why?
they're paddle tails, just for a little bit easier to keep it to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, keep that contact to the bottom because these fish are on the bottom.
Yes.
And sometimes there's a little bit too much current on your drift. You can snip the tail off there and make it more like a fluke or a jerk shaft, and it gives you a little bit of cleaner action.
Old Storm did okay on that.
Yeah, they didn't mind.
As soon as you say we got over this incredible bottom, and bam, drilled it.
They looked good, and you hooked up right away. The bottom was
did.
just right. Well, let's let this one go catch another one.
Go for it. Watch him take off like a drag car here.
I know, you just never know. Sometimes they run away fast, and sometimes they don't. This one might be a little tired.
Yeah, he even gave you a leap.
Wow!
So we're going through the routine once again, and here comes my flounder up. Beautiful flounder. Of course, you had to release it. It's been one heck of a keeper. And right there underneath the surface, right by the boat, Jot is getting ready to go down with a net. I see the flounder. Oh, there goes my jig. No! Jot's reflexer is so good. The flounder was like momentarily stunned. Boom! He gets it in the net and save that flounder. So I would have to say that would be probably the catch of the day. And even though it was my flounder, I got to credit Jot with that because he was quick in the net, because that flounder, if he had one more second to regain its composure, bam, it would have been down at the bottom.
One of the latest pieces of electronics on the shallow water mark is Simrad's new NSX unit. It's impressively fast. All pages are prominently displayed, as well as the ones utilized the most. These pages can be arranged in various combinations as well. This includes split-screen sonar and high-definition charting, various outboard functions showcasing trim, RPMs, compass, speed, and much more. You can pull up and out of these pages at the touch of a button and with lightning quickness. It's proven to be a major fishing and boating asset in my home waters of Biscayne Bay, Florida, and during our travels. It's an impressive unit and ultra-fast.
At this point, we're sitting with 8 flounder already. So Jot said, you know what we ought to do? He said, we've had a good day out here. Let's go inshore, maybe mix it up. On the way back in, hit a couple docks. And he was explaining to me of the different types of flounder. The southern flounder is more predominant inshore. Again, one of his specialty.
Mercury Performance Stats, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. Seas, calm. Power, Mercury Pro XS V8 225 horsepower. Props, Mercury Tempest 19-inch pitch. Total miles, 18. Consistent cruise, 5,000 RPM. Speed, 42 miles per hour. Total fuel burn, 6.4 gallons. We'll be right back. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum. Never a spectator. VMC, your expert in hooks. King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
So we rack up everything, and we're probably maybe 3 miles away from Masonboro Inlet at that point. Got that shallow water mark cranked up, making a nice brisk run back through that inlet. And Jot had me head off in a certain direction. He said, let's go ahead and spend maybe a half hour or so just throwing at some docks. You never know. And here, the chances are good that we would get the southern flounder. So we started fishing docks. And again, it's a game of precision. As Jot was explaining to me, he had these ledges that would come out of maybe 2-3 feet of water where we'd power pull down. and work our jigs off a ledge that might be anywhere from, say, a 5-foot drop to maybe 8, 10, 12 feet. And I'm coming right by this one dock, just barely mudding my jig as I'm reeling it back, and then boom, that rod bent, I wound tight. For a second there, I thought I might have snagged the dock. I was that close. Then that dock starts to move.
Oh, it feels flounder-like. And I do. I got a
Little flounder.
Yeah, look at that.
There.
There's your southern, isn't it? Or
That's a southern. Let me get the anchor. Let me get the net for him.
check the difference. Coming your way, Josh. You ready?
Well,
Oh, use your hand it then.
yeah. Yeah, that's a southern. There's the old southern flounder. Now, you know, you can't go by the dark body, because the dark body is because we're in this, in here.
All right.
You know, we're inshore. It's on dark mud bottom. We're fishing. That's a really nice fish, George. But if you look in the, in the light here, so this fish doesn't have any of the eye dots or the oscillated dots. These are just all unoscillated dots, open.
And that's a southern flounder.
And that's a southern flounder. And this is more typical of inshore by far. You know, occasionally I'll see a summer Gulf inshore around the inlet for sure. But inshore, I'd say most of the fish we're seeing, about 90%, are going to be your southerns. And this is a real decent southern flounder.
Loving them.
Super little suckers.
Awesome.
Beautiful fish.
Turn this one loose. And off. All right, well, southern flounder and on the inshore world.
There you go. Nice work, George.
And we brought in a nice southern flounder, but we let that one go, and Jot and I looked at each other. Hey, we got 9 flounder. Let's get back to the dock. It's 1 in the afternoon. Couldn't ask much more for that, so we ran back to the marina, got the shallow water mark tied up. I broke out the Starbright and gave the boat the Starbright bath. I mean, after all, we're going to take it home the next day and trailer it, so washed it all down, and then from there, Jot got my trailer and truck, met me at the boat ramp. I left the marina after I cleaned the boat, headed to the boat ramp. He backed the float-on trailer down, put the shallow water mark on it. We pulled out of there and pretty much secured the boat for the drive back to South Florida. Yeah, as easy as that. Jot wanted to throw a low country boil. Jot loves doing this, and he said, let's get to the marina about 5 o'clock, 5:30. Let me get this thing going. Let's be prepared to eat around 6:30. So we get there, and I see 15 pounds of Carolina white shrimp, just looking so good. Jot has the sausage. He's got the potatoes, the corn in the cob, and I'm watching him work this big pot, putting all this magic. And he had some special ingredients they put in there that he made the camera guy turn around and look in the other direction. He didn't want, it was like Colonel Sanders, that secret recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken that nobody knows about. Well, this is Jot's secret recipe for the low country boil that nobody can know about.
So the low country boil, it's something I enjoy to do. I enjoy cooking, I enjoy eating. And you know, we couldn't keep the flounders, so we had to do something Carolina. So we got some nice local white shrimp. And you know, you got the corn and potatoes, the sausage and the shrimp, and a handful of magical seasonings that you may or may not get to see on the show. And it's easy, and it's crowd pleaser, and I love it. I mean, everything in there is good. You go back for seconds and thirds. Had some local friends over and family, and it's always a good time to have a great meal by the water after a successful day fishing.
And anyway, it was just a good time. We had some friends over. Dave Wicker, another Seminar Series regular, lived in the area. He had come by with his wife, Teresa, Jot's wife, Jot's dad, who ran the camera boat for us out there. Just a good bunch of people sitting around, just talking about flounder fishing in general, life in general, and just what we do best. We talk fishing, and it was just a remarkable low country boil. And yeah, there was probably a Papa's Pilar 2 poured during that. It was just a great way to cap a pretty darn good day of flounder fishing, a half a day, I should really say.
So we've been trying to do this show for 2 years now. We got blown out last year by a tropical system, and the flounder fishing in North Carolina, you know, it's going up and down, but you came at a good time because the fish were here biting. It finally got to put the rubber to the pavement. Caught some fish. And I got to go fishing with them. The only time I got to hold fishing rods with George was on stages. So it was good to be able to actually do that.
I was finally able to sample this fishery for myself, and to see what really drives North Carolina anglers so crazy about this fish called the flounder. It was exciting spending a day with Jock, getting on the flounder, jigging for him. What a great fish. And it was just an A+ all the way around. If you want to keep track of our fishing adventures, we welcome you to follow us on our social media. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. I'm on Instagram at George Poveromo. And you can see our shows in 4K broadcast quality on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is George Poveromo TV. Jump aboard and ride along with us.